Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param Vishwaro Guratmeti Murtibeda Vibhagine Vyo Mabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sarvavedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. So we begin on page 1173. 1173. We are still covering the Swamiji's introduction or recapitulation of the verse. I think it's the verse 7. For one who has mastered himself or who is tranquil, the Supreme Self is evident. And then this Supreme Self is absolutely equanimous. This Self is the same in spite of all opposite pair of opposites produced by Maya Ishvara. So every and all experience of pleasure and pain, heat and cold, is taken in a total equanimous manner by the Atma. You know? But as we know, the Atma is not an entity, an experience entity, but the Jiva Atma, this combination of Jiva Atma, makes the Atma of the Jiva an experience entity, and the benefit of someone who has mastered his mind is a sense of equanimity in regards to pleasure and pain. And also, and then Swami, Lord Krishna present the concept, another different kind of opposites, dualistic pair of opposites is honor and dishonor, which is not a sensory opposite, but it is mental, psychological, so emotional. So you feel honored, you are like, oh, whoa, whoa. No, you feel dishonored, you feel angry, irritable, depressed. Yeah? So all duality comes to this equanimity, samatvam, for the self, for the Atma, and Jivatma is the Atma, and then the Jivatma is supposed to experience a sense of equanimity in spite of its nature as a body-mind complex under the pressure of vasanas, which is whatsoever residual of likes and dislikes. Yeah? But this is all there is as far as the fruits of self-knowledge, a sense of equanimity. And that is possible because you realize your nature as consciousness. And consciousness is not part product of or property of matter and energy. Is an independent, distinctive entity which pervades the entire universe, which of course includes the body-mind complex of each individual soul. Consciousness is not bound by the dimensions of this physical body. Consciousness is there in the presence and in the absence of the physical body, in the absence of a physical body, of an instrument for transaction. This consciousness cannot be verified, okay, by the five senses. So it cannot be verified, but it's there. It needs an instrument for verification, so to speak. The survived consciousness cannot transact because the absence, the media transaction is not there. This is the general description we know of consciousness, the features of consciousness. Uh, this can easily be known through our day-to-day experience of life. During sleep, we exist, but we do not transact, and we are very, very satisfied with no duality, which no experience of pleasure and pain, of whatsoever pair of opposite. Every experience is there in opposition to its other side, you know. So high is there standing only on the ground of its other side, which is low, and so is the case with everything. Transactions come and go, the transaction instrument come and go, but I consciousness am eternally unaffected. Excuse me just for a moment. So this is what there is to Atmayanan, discovering the real Atma, the real self, the real I. This is called owning the real I. This person is supposedly unaffected by all pairs of opposites happening in life, like heat and cold, favorable conditions and unfavorable conditions describe the situation. None of them will shake the person with a firm, solid, clear, and self-knowledge. Uh, sure, we have very worried about our social, and then honor and dishonor is more about the image society has of ourselves is another problem. It's a psychological experience, the image I have of myself, which is based on how the way people see me. If they see me as an honorable person, and then I am attached to that because it feels good. Okay, and then a little bit below we have the verse 8. And then he presents here another passage in our verse, which says that a yogi, that's called a yogi. A yogi is one for whom a lump of earth, stone, and gold are the same. So this is the most extreme example of samathivam. But as Ramji used to joke about, that does not mean that the yen is going to take, you know, a stone to the bank and ask them to deposit it as gold. You understand? It's just that the yen is not as attached to what things appear to be as the Anyani. Well, he has a steady self-knowledge because he has mastered the sense organs. This is yoga, and this yoga is not the asana yogi, no, yogi asanas, no, that twisting yoga, you know, or being upside down, doing certain funny exercise. No, you know, this is the yani yogi, the one with steady, firm, and clear self-knowledge. This yani, this yogi is satisfied through jnana and vijnana, wisdom, huh? Direct knowledge, indirect knowledge, and direct knowledge. Knowledge in regards to Saguneshwara and Nirguneshwara. You This is a real yogi who has mastered the mind, the sense organs, and so on. It's called a yogi. And this yogi is, he enjoys a samatvam that makes him see through the the different colors present by the object. They see everything as Brahman, therefore not much excitement about getting a piece of gold or a piece of stone. Everything is just a superimposition on Brahman. The only reality is Brahman. The only reality is consciousness. Doesn't matter the configuration of the element. The elements resolve themselves in Brahman. So that is the concept here. The verse number 8, one whose mind is satisfied through Jnana and Vijñana, who is stead and who has mastered the sense organs, called a Yogi. A Yogi is the one for whom a lump of earth, stone, and gold are the same. So this disciplined person, because everything begins with discipline, you know. So we have it's interesting because we have in the list of qualifications presented by Vedanta, we have Viveka and then discrimination, dispassion, and discipline. Discipline comes third, the third D. Talking, bring it in English language. Uh, Discrimination, dispassion, and discipline. But as we can see, these things that they are interconnected. You understand? So you need to somehow be a disciplined person in order to develop viveka and vairagya as well, and dispassion as well. You know, so they are not really disconnect from one another. So the disciplined person goes through two stages of self-knowledge. So it is bringing that a disciplined person is a person who has mastered the mind and the sense organs, and it's someone who has developed discrimination and dispassion. And then with the first stage of self-knowledge called Jnana, and the second is Vijnana. We have seen these two terms using in different texts and also in the third chapter of the Gita. Jnana, Vijñana, Nasanam. While talking about kama, krodha, desires for security and pleasures, we saw these two words, Jnana and Vijnana. These two words have got different meaning according to different contexts and texts as well. Different texts represent this concept slightly different. I will give you a simpler meaning here based on what I said before. When you say, I am the body and I have consciousness, this is jnana. When you become aware that there is consciousness and the consciousness appears to be something that I own, I mean, that belongs to the body mind sense complex. You understand? As if it's a byproduct of the body mind sense complex. So this is indirect knowledge. I know consciousness is a byproduct of my body mind complex. I enjoy knowing that I have consciousness, but I see consciousness as a byproduct of my body mind. Consciousness is taken as a byproduct of the physical body, or another feature of your physical body. Okay, it's not that the body is, a byproduct of consciousness by the power of Maya to project these different kind of namarupas, such as the body or the physical body. So we take ourselves to be the body and we say, I have consciousness. I got into the Vedanta teachings and I discovered that I have consciousness playing here. I discovered that consciousness is different from the body, but from the mind, but still I see consciousness and the mind as something other, as something other. This is called jnana. Why is it called jnana? At least I know that there is consciousness. Earlier, I was not even aware of it. So this is a good beginning, that I am the body and I am endowed with consciousness, which is a distinct principle which pervades and illumines the body. And then what is Vijnana? Vijnana is instead direct knowledge, which says I am conscious and the body is just a projection that occurs within myself. Okay? So it's changing it. It's turning it all around. I am the consciousness principle, and I have got a body, an apparent body, to allow me for apparent transaction for a temporary period of time. It's just like using your glasses to read a book and then put it aside once you want to go to sleep. For example, when I remove my glass, I do not transact but I remember that I exist with or without the glass. Yeah, reading with the ability clearly read, and inability because I have certain condition. In the same way, our body and mind are like two glasses of with this spectacle. And when I use the body mind, I have the waking state experience and the dream state experience. Very interesting. And he presents the two bodies as the two pair of glasses by which you can experience the physical Vyavaharika reality and the mental Pratibhasika reality. So interesting. When the body and the mind are relaxed, I resolved. I'm resolved. I do not have waking or dream state. I am in the deep sleep state. Therefore, I do not have any transaction. But even without transaction, I continue to exist. The body mind are no more an instrument. In the absence of instruments, I don't transact. And this attitudinal change of identification is called Vijñana. So the first, in another language, the first is indirect knowledge, is paroksha jnana. The second is aparoksha jnana, direct knowledge. And only when the shift takes place, jnana, vijnana, tripata, atma, of course, only when I shift the I or identification from the body to the atma, then alone my sense of limitation will gradually go. People will ask, why should I shift my identification? I'm happy to claim that I'm the body mind. I have gone through 30 years of spirituality. I have refined and purified the body mind to such an extent that I don't want to drop my identification with the body mind. Huh? So why? Why Vedanta is asking me that? Huh? Why should I know the Atma and take the Atma to be my true nature? I have struggled so much to purify the body mind. Why to get a new identification with the Atma? Why all these headaches to process and refine and purify my karma, and now I just have to drop it. So why can't I keep my identification with the body and also my identification with the Atma? Both identifications is something that a lot of people, from my understanding, get stuck as well. For the Vedantic answer is that if you are comfortable with the identification with the body mind, we wish you all the best. We are not interested to push Vedanta on you to force a changing of identification. But the problem is that as long as you are identified with the body, first there is fear of the death, the aging and the death of the body. This is the fear of mortality that is the fundamental fear behind all fears. And with mortality, there is the fear of old age, disease, and pain. That comes as a development of aging, developing disease, suffering pain, and then dying. Not after fifth or sixth year, but it's a fear that is constantly there, even when we are still very young. Throughout life, this fear is there. And not only we are afraid of our death and old age, we are afraid of the deaths of people I am attached to. So if I lose my son, my mother, or my wife, my husband, people I'm leaning upon, if I lose that support, I feel like I may fall as well, you know. So therefore, the fear of mortality, which is based on a mistaken identification with the body as the body, creates great many problems. Huh? Some people say, I'm not afraid of death, I'm afraid of old age, disease, and pain. No? Anyhow, if you are comfortable with the fear of mortality, and then Vedanta is not for you. A lot of people, they came to accept, no, that's all there is. I'm no longer afraid of that. No? I accept that. It's easy to say, but it's easy to confront death without fear. It's difficult to confront death without fear. You need to be a very properly established jnani. But some people will claim that no, I'm comfortable with the death, mortality of the body. I have no fear anymore. And then we say, great. So you are kind of a jnani. Vedanta is no longer required for you. You know? I know someone who used to tell me that again and again, but every time the person had a cold or a flu, oh, I may die. It was an older person, but she was getting high with Vedanta, and then she said, oh, I got it. I'm no longer afraid. But then the flu would come, and then she was afraid again. If you say I'm comfortable, Vedanta is not for you. But if you say I'm afraid, the aging body is affecting my mood, yeah, and then I better handle the problem. The problem is ignorance of my true nature. And the only medicine are the teachings of the Vedanta, the Upanishads. And it has to be, how you say, uh, the administration of the medicine has to be done in a proper way, and requires a certain uh, effort and discipline and definitely some time. All the diseases are going to be cured only from this medicine, the so-called self-knowledge. All fears, not not all disease, physical disease, but all fears are going to be treated by this one. And the main fear behind all fears is the fear of death. No? So we need to take care of this problem as its roots. He was saying here that nobody wants to die. You probably understood that I like to see this news about Agenda 2030 and so on. And I saw a video somebody sent to me the other day in which the people were there stating very clearly. I shared it with Mark because Mark likes those things as well. And these people up there, in the up there in the governments of the world, they say that aging and sickness and death is a pain. It is an illness. Now we have the technology. With technology, we're gonna cure old age and pain and death, immortality. They represent mortality as a disease that can be cured with technology. And I remember Mark had a big laughter. I said, oh my God, how delude these people. How can you cure, how can you overcome mortality with technology? So no, there is no medicine, there is no cure for mortality. Yeah? There is no medicine, no cure, no technology to overcome immortality of the physical body, because the most fundamental law is that any and everything that appears must disappear. Everything that is created is bound to age and die. Even the stars, no matter how long it may take, but anything that appears will disappear. And you can prolong the the physical body for some more time, maybe with certain technology, but definitely, you know, uh, mixing up the physical organism, the physical biological organism with robotic and technology to create these other kinds of beings, is not the answer because you're going to lose your connection with your divinity. For these three basic problems, there is no remedy. If you are ready to face this problem, wonderful. Oh no, I'm okay. No, I accept mortality, I accept disease, old age, I have no problem. I'm not afraid, and then Vedanta is not for you. Uh, this change in mind, you are ever free. So the only solution is understanding that your true nature is not the physical body, it's not the subtle body, it's not the causal body, it's eternal consciousness. You will never decay, you were never born, you will never die. So it's shifting identity from the I, the mortal I, to the immortal I. If you want to discover, Vedanta says, may I help you? So if somebody knocks at your door, I say, okay, so I gave up an idea of finding the immortal pill, the pill of immortality during my lifetime, because the body is bound to die. And I heard that Vedanta may help me to understand my true nature, which is immortal, you know. And then we can say, yes, 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 I heard about that as well. As a matter of fact, I know that, and I can help you. I can, help you to be introduced to Vedanta. Now, we never go around trying to push Vedanta on anyone. What is this counter for? Not to go after any person. If anybody wants help, yeah, only. It's very difficult people who wants really to shift one's identity from the body mind to consciousness. Very rare, extremely rare. you know, when we talk Vedanta on these terms of Swami Paramarthananda, in the terms of the class I like to unfold without not much dilution, what have I say? Dilution. Uh, Not much into betterment of physical body or psychology or other things that mix a lot with Vedanta, all over the place. But when you teach the teaching so pure like that, it's very rare to find a person who wants to shift one's identity from the body mind. Most everybody wants to improve the body mind sense complex. Then what is the benefit? Maja, Maja. The life is relaxed. The fear of death is gone because it belongs to the body. Imagine no fear of old age. Imagine no fear of old age. No fear of disease. They belong to my incidental shell, the body. They do not belong to the real me. And then the person is said to finally be at peace. Understanding one's true nature is whole, full, and complete. Consciousness, it feels fulfilled, got the knowledge that solved the problem of human experience, which the sense of unfulfillment, incompletion, and dissatisfaction, inadequacy, and so on. So happiness is possible, yes, and it's more like a piece that passes human understanding, intellectual understanding. Who will be able to get this knowledge? Only the person who has get to master one's body, mind, sense complex. Mastering himself or herself is a must. Is this present as the third discipline, the third deal, discipline. Mastered, mastering the body, mind, sense complex. Only this person will become Jnana, Vijñana, Atma. Whose mind is fully satisfied with Atma Jnana, with this wisdom, and therefore means unshaken by any event that happens in his life. This is another problem. We can never predict our future. So he's presenting here another problem that is like, and how about tomorrow? Things are getting tough, and tomorrow is very uncertain. It may be very unfavorable, different from the life I had behind, where things were more or less steady. We could expect certain degree of security and satisfaction. So now I'm very shaken by events that may happen now and bring my life upside down, and then people start going everywhere to try to discover the future, predict the future. Uh, we don't have the knowledge of the future. We can sense if things are becoming more and more challenging or less challenging. But we do not know what's going on to happen tomorrow. We'll never know for sure. Even tonight, it's difficult. The future, in truth, is unpredictable. But we can predict if things are going more down and getting more and more tough, like we see nowadays, and or not. And there are certain things that which are predictable, but not controllable. We can predict, but we don't have the power to really control things. So, and then he brings the example of some cataclysms we have had. I don't know if you heard, we have had it for the second year. Uh, Cataclysms there in the southern part of Brazil destroyed everything. People lost everything after 1 year trying to rebuild. One of my students, his family there lost everything a year or so ago, and now they are on rent trying to get together again, and came this one and then destroyed everything again. So we don't know how to control the forces of nature. No, we don't know. Uh, some people may predict, even the science can predict cataclysms and cyclones and this and that, but we never know for sure how it's going to be, the course, the trajectory, and we don't have that knowledge. Future is, after all, unpredictable, or even if it's predictable, it's uncontrollable. Therefore, there is a constant fear because things may be turning around and become very adverse to my comfortable life. Yeah? And I do not know. So, what is the best defense against this uncontrollable, unpredictable life we live? Events of life. Christians say that only Atmayana alone is the armor, the protection. A wise person is not shocked by any event possible. It's like a rock. It's strong. It has that strength, mental, emotional, psychological strength. It's coming from Jnana, yeah? Understanding of my true nature, which is free from any and every adversities that may come. And by understanding as well that the phenomenal world is unpredictable and is uncontrollable by me. And then we surrender to the Lord, and then we accept the events of these apparent realities as they come. And on top of that, we have the Atmayana, which gives us the further protection, insurance that tells me that it will maybe put an end to my body mind, but to my physical body, more specific. But I, as consciousness, I'm totally free. And furthermore, and my mind or my subtle body or my soul is relatively eternal because only self knowledge will put an end to the individual soul. So that is why in Indian tradition, when the boy and the girl are going to get married, they have a certain particular ritual in which they have to step on a stone. So you're going to go into a new lifestyle. It's unpredictable. You don't know how a marriage, especially I mean, in any case, in India, we see arranged marriage, or in the West, you never know if it's going to work. And nowadays, more often than not, it does not work, and people get into trouble. They have to divorce and separate, and so you before get married, you step on a stone. The stone uh, means to say a base, a solid base, a base upon which I'm going to establish a family. Step on this stone. So so we want to welcome all kinds of situation in life, from a solid base. So the base here is spiritual self-knowledge. The knowledge, Ishwara, Saguna Ishwara is the first base, and Nirguna Ishwara is the ultimate base, on which, I can handle these unpredictable events of this uncontrolled manifestation. Unless I have that kind of strength, every experience will shake me and cause pain. Krishna says that for a wise person, no experience is a traumatic or shocking experience. He is strong enough to handle those without dropping and collapsing and despairing. A wise person is called a yogi. Yogi in the real sense of the term, because normally we use the word yoga or yogi for any expert in yogasana. So yogasana is one aspect of yoga, but the yogi we mean, yeah, we speak about is Atma Yana. Yogi is the one who has his Atma Yana. Krishna says that all this standing on his head and so on is just superficial yogas. The real yogi is the Yan yogi, and the one who has got this wisdom. And as a result of this wisdom, he enjoys equanimous state of mind, a strong state of mind. Samaha means equanimous. The same type of mind, equanimous mind, towards what? Towards three things. Yeah? What are those three things? Claude verse, mother call, scholar, which does not have any value, stones or brick. Yeah. Three things or two things? I goat, a piece of stone, and what is the third thing that I'm not getting here?
Earth, stone, and gold.
No, I got confused because he says he has an equanimous attitude towards three things. Lotsaha means a piece of earth. Earth is stone and gold. Yeah, yeah. Earth, mud, stones. Yeah, asthma stones. Earth, stone, and gold. Okay. The third one is gold, which has got intrinsic value for transaction. So towards all these things, one, the least valued and the most valued, and all the other things in between, uh, the wise man has got so much value. Therefore, he does not get much excited about this or that, because he sees everything as just superimpositions on myself as a Brahman. You know? Therefore, the wise person is less subject to desires and fears and attachments and the entire uh, problem of the illness, the sickness of samsara. What do you mean by samatva? Does it mean that he will see all of them in the same way? And then Swami further clarifies, say no. He's going to see every one of those configurations distinctively. Otherwise, he has some cataract in his eyes. Yeah? He sees the different namarupas, but he's going to see through the namarupas. And he knows this is all the five elements, and the five elements, they are all resolved in consciousness or in Brahman. The wise person will know the utilitarian value of each one of these objects, okay? And know that the gold can be used appropriately, the stones can be used to build a house, and the earth can be used to grow food, for example. Everything has its value. The utilitarian values, but they are not absolute values. No? So this distinction between utilitarian value and real value is what makes the difference. A lot of people get confused when they see a yoni be interested in certain objects as things that offer utilitarian values, and they think, oh, this yoni is not a yoni because he's interested in earth to grow food, or in stones to build house, in gold for as a valuable asset. No, these are utilitarian values. The Yani knows, but Yani knows that utilitarian values do not represent the ultimate value, which is the value of self-knowledge. You understand? Therefore, the Yani is not caught up or attached or dependent on all these objects, regardless of its utilitarian values. The Yanni, therefore, is not suffering from desires and aversions. He does not have that because he has neutralized the power of Maya to delude human beings. The power of Maya produce intrinsic values on those Namarupas which have only utilitarian relative values. He does not have the mind constantly disturbed by raga and vesha, attraction, aversions, attachments towards objects, even towards my status as an honorable person or unhonorable person. Any attachment is going to cause limitation and unhappiness and suffering. It's going to produce insecurity. So be careful with honor. Honor is another problem. Famous. We heard. I think you probably heard as well. One of these famous gurus. Now, he has been around for 10, 20 years from the direct path, and a lot of scandals came that the guy became so rich, uh, became so famous and so rich, and then with fame comes richness, and with richness comes sex, and then down the road come all the scandals, and the person is exposed. So we have to be careful, with this sense of being famous, the status of being a great Mahatma. It could be dangerous, huh? Mark, imagine, everybody in Spain now, make you a great guru and offer you everything. You have to be careful, huh? Not to fall for that kind of status.
Yeah, you have to be very clear. Otherwise pride is going to come and you're going to have a fall for sure. So you
Yeah,
have to truly know your nature.
yeah, they have to be very, very, very firm and honest. But the problem is most of the people who goes suffer these things, they did not go through the complete teachings and the complete self-knowledge. They got certain understanding here and there that I am consciousness is all there is, but the identification with the body mind was not really completely neutralized, and then they start feeling like, oh, I am messiahs. I am, a great enlightened being, and I deserve this. I deserve pleasure. I deserve everything. Anyhow, everything is Nietzsche, and and then they start doing all kinds of funny things. So hatred is towards which object? An object that's going to decrease my honor, my status, my prestige. So I hate anybody who's going to try to bring down my name and fame. So a lot of problems that comes with attachment to any and all pair of opposites. Yan is free from both of them. You know why? Because for a yani, purnatva, or fullness, does not come from an external object. He is not fulfilled because of the presence of the object. His fulfillment comes from where? Not because of money, not because of a house, not because of status, not because of wife or parents or anything. I am full because of what? My nature happens to be a non-dual consciousness. It's full, whole, and complete because there is only consciousness as far as reality goes. So I have tapped into my true nature. I have understood it, and I am that conscious existence. We are one without a second, without any border, without limitation or frontier. And if I am already that full, whole, and complete consciousness, no projection occurring upon myself is going to change my status, is going to increase my fullness. No object of gain can decrease my fullness. Just as the ocean is ever full, the world cannot affect my fullness. This ocean, as you know, is a beautiful analogy. The ocean is always full. It's a nice symbol of Purnatva. The waters of the rivers come, the waters of the clouds come, and none of these, and they evaporate as well, and but none of these affects the fullness of the ocean. If things come, wonderful. If things go, equally okay. And then he gives an example of parents who have this thing with children. They educate children, and the children, when they have to go, there is attachment, and then the parents begin suffering. They are unhappy because the children are about to go. So the children was depending on me, but in fact, I was not aware that I was already attaching myself and depending on the children. And now the children go, and I feel unhappy. This is more common in some other cultures, not much in the USA, but in Latin families, it's very common attachment with children. Okay, the problem of attachment and dependence. Wisdom makes me independent, psychologically independent. And then we go into the next page, which begins the introduction to the verse 9. Lord Krishna is discussing the Bahiranga sadhana, which is the general disciplines to be observed by a person who wants to go into upasana and nididhyasana. And he spoke about samatvam as the main discipline, equanimity. Then he talked about the importance of self-confidence. Yeah, very important, very nice, very beautiful. Then Krishna talked about self-efforts because you cannot have confidence but just be lazy. You need to understand that God's grace depends on your actions and attitudes. No? Then he talked about psychology here a little bit. Krishna talk about integration of various aspects of our psychological personality. We have actually physical personality, psychological personality, intellectual personality. Individual is a composite of this personality. So we can put it as the five koshas. They need to be integrated in one single personality, so that we have a person with a good personality. Then he says that a, a positive personality can affect positive other personalities. And then he just presents the psychosomatic disease. Now they exist in between the physical body and the mental body, and the emotional body. If you have an emotional problem, your physical body is going to be affected. Huh? And if you have a physical problem as well, yeah, your emotional body is going to be affected. So it's one single integrate organism, the body mind sense complex. Therefore, integration, he's highlighting the importance of integration. You remember these teachings, huh? It was very good. Krishna now says that the person takes care of this, of all these disciplines, then self-knowledge is very, 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 very easy. A walk over, he says. Then Krishna talks about the benefit of gaining self-knowledge, which is what we have seen, a sense of equanimity, balance, strength. I no longer depend on the world to disturb me or to satisfy me. I stand on my own. I stand on the solid rock of self-knowledge. I don't lean on the world. This is a change of perspective which brought about only by self-knowledge. This change of perspective can be presented in several ways. Krishna here presents it as Savatra Sama Darshanam. There is an intrinsic samatyavan, no? An understanding that there is an intrinsic samatyavan. The nature of the entire universe, we can say, is just the five elements, or furthermore, the gunas, energy, prakriti of Maya, or furthermore, pure sattva, or furthermore, intrinsically consciousness of Brahman. In several ornaments, in spite of the superficial difference, there is only one samatva, which is the pure gold. Everything is just gold and gold alone. Every ornaments are known by different names and different forms, but the essential substance is one. When my vision is focused on namarupas alone, yeah, on namarupa karma, name, form, and function. I've never heard this expression. When my vision is focused on namarupa karma. Interesting. I try to understand what he's trying to point there. My vision is focused on namarupa karma, name, form, and function. Karma there goes to function, or property, or utility. Yeah. I see difference and I see diversity and plurality, whereas when my vision is focused on the intrinsic substance behind the namarupas, I see only the gold and the gold alone. Similarly, the Jnani has learned to see the fundamental substance of the entire creation, and therefore, everywhere he sees the Saman Brahman, or Samatma, consciousness of Brahman. We have seen this idea in the 5th chapter as well. This Samadarshana, this vision, eponymous Samatva vision, is the change of perspective. So, because of that, the benefit is enjoyed, which means a sense of unshaken by the experience of life, immunity against the ups and downs and cries of life. Like the example of the Stoic philosopher that when he lost all his property in business, first response he said was, "What? What?" Yeah. And then just let me see if that is the example he wants to give. Lost his property, first response was what? And since he was a wise person, after 2 minutes, oh, it took that long. 2 minutes, he recovered and just added another word. Uh, what is that? So what? So what is samsara? So what is moksha? It is the only difference. What and so what? You just need to add so and then you are free. But remember to add that so. For that, it requires tremendous inner transformation. That is what is achieved by self-knowledge, unshaken knowledge that allows us to see through the differentiations of names, colors, and properties or attributes or utilities of all namarupas, neutralizing that vision of plurality and duality with the vision of non-duality proposed by Vedanta. Everything is only I, Brahman. Therefore, it's said that the young enjoys a mind that is the same with regards of friends and enemies. Another passage here, verse 6, chapter 6, verse 9. It sees the same whether there is a friend or an enemy. Mind is neutral, so he's not hateful. Relations, the righteous and even the unrighteous. Okay, verse number 9. He whose mind is the same with regard to well-wishers, friends, enemies. I mean, he was just anticipating in in the local language or Sanskrit language what is coming here. He whose mind is the same with regard to the well-wishers, friends, enemies, neutrals, meditators, hateful ones, relations, the righteous, and even the unrighteous, those excels. So this is the extreme example of a Samathivan mind, which is, I would say it's rare to find among the Yanis. That's my take. Okay, so it's to see somebody who is so, grounded in this self knowledge, that does not have any human reaction uh, uh, towards friends and enemies. Friends and enemies, they represent, one represents comfort, the other represents dangers and discomfort. If the mind is equanimous before both, this is a incredible equanimous mind. In the previous verse, Lord Krishna said that this wise man has got samatvan with regard to inanimate things, those objects which are not animate. So now he's moving. Before he presents different objects, and then he presents another object which was a psychological object, which is honor and dishonor. And now he presenting people, people which are other human beings. So how to be equanimous towards all human beings? Some people may want to kill me. Some people may want to praise me. How to be equanimous and how to reconcile it with the the teachings of the Gita, in which Krishna tells Arjuna, go fight and kill the enemy, you know. So how about the friend and the enemy, how to reconcile all of that? So here Krishna is pointing to the fact that there are two things. One is an action, and the other is the energy or the intent, or the way you are moved by that action. You know? So you can go and fight this war to destroy and to uphold Dharma, but with a certain attitude of being doing one's Swadharma, without hating the enemy, but with a certain understanding that you know both sides, they are playing the same game. One side must be destroyed for the sake of the Dharma, you understand? But it's a feeling, I guess, inside the heart of a warrior that does not really hate the person. It hates. I mean, Ramji used to say, quote something that appears in our text and tradition that say, "Don't hate the sinner, hate the sin." You know? So it's just like to see people being moved by ignorance and to see people doing horrible things to other people, you know, and yet not putting the hate on the person, but on the ignorance of the person. It requires tremendous samatva, tremendous wisdom, which is only possible by this complete self-knowledge, very much properly established. Equanimity with regards to living creatures is more difficult, and especially with regard to human living being. Samatvan is extremely difficult because we have a lot of expectation from other people, and therefore we relate a lot to other people. We expect things. Therefore, you move with someone, we easily tend to develop raga and Verso, krodha, and other problems. Therefore, here Krishna says Jnana has overcome these ragas and Verso with regard to other human beings. Now, this is a big one. It's very challenging, more difficult. And we're going to leave it for our next class, next Friday, as we move on the chapter 6 of the Gita. Anything from you guys? As we can see, spiritual elevation is something that seems never to end, you know, as far as the manifestation of spiritual development or spiritual elevation may seem to be a work in progress that does not have really an end, even though it may put an end to further births. But this self-knowledge could fructify more and more and more and make a person very admired by many, such as the case of one of our contemporary sage, Ramana Maharaj, such a beautiful, radiant, pure person. Yeah? Okie dokie. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. We meet again Monday with the Mandukya.
Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, Alinda. Very nice that saying.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.